Welcome back to the TacomaBeast channel, where, as you all know, it's all about the taco. Today we're in South Dakota at the C4 fabrication facility, where we're gonna be going into phase 2. We've built the ultimate daily Tacoma. Now we're gonna build the ultimate overland Tacoma, and we're gonna give it away at the end of the year, plus $15,000 cash. Today we'll be adding over $10,000 worth of products. We're gonna start with the armor. We're going with the C4 hybrid front bumper, C4 high clearance rear bumper with the swing out. 4 skid plates. We're gonna be doing full C4 skid plates from front to back, along with the gas skids and differential skid plate. Then for the winch, we're going with the Warn winch. We're also gonna be adding an S-Pod with the touchscreen display. That's gonna allow us to turn on all the Baja design lights that we have. For the lights, we have a 30-inch S8 light bar from Baja Designs, the S2s and Squadron Sports that are gonna be going on the front bumper and ditch lights. For the 40-inch light bar, we'll be installing it back in Florida once we install the roof rack. We also have the Factor 55 fair lead and flat links. And finally, we have C4's oversized tire fitment kit that they've been working on and developing for the last few months that I cannot wait to show you. As you guys can see, we have tons of products that we need to install. Let's get started. Fog lights are on, light bars on, and the winch. Now they're prepping the rear bumper. They're gonna start unbolting it. We're gonna remove the bumper. What else, Wes? What's happening after we remove this bumper?
Since it's still in the air, we can't do a ton, but we're gonna pull the bumper, drop your spare, start getting like your diff skid and some other stuff installed right now while the guys are working up front, and probably prep the swing arm and do some other stuff for the rear bumper.
Since we're installing the C4 high clearance rear bumper, having the exhaust here is gonna take away from having that high clearance. So right now, Wes just loosened this bolt for me. So now I'm just gonna remove the rear exhaust hanger. Pretty sweet, we didn't have to cut it off.
Ryan and I are prepping the swing out for the high clearance rear bumper. I'm gonna start greasing some bearings. Ryan chased some threads from the powder coat just to make sure everything's cleared off. He's gonna start working on the camp table. We'll get this all done up and ready to bolt on, and then next step will be mocking up the cuts for the bedside and moving on to that.
For one of the most exciting parts of building this Tacoma is to cut the bedside off. We've reached the point of no return after you cut this thing off. You ready? I think it's safe to say there's no turning back. All right, guys, I'm really excited. I've been waiting for this moment since the beginning of the year to install the C4 high clearance rear bumper. Brian and Wes have already prepped it. It's ready to go. Oh, I can't wait to see how this is gonna look. I'm really happy I went with the hoops here. Gives it a really nice touch, extra protection, and the welds on this bumper are just absolutely amazing. This bumper sits way higher than the bumpers that I've seen, which I really love, man. You get a shit ton of clearance. This is one of the highest sitting bumpers I've seen.
One of the other main differences with ours is the bedside actually tucks down inside the bumper. So you can see the edge of the bumper, the bedside sits about 1 inch down. Some of these bumpers, they leverage quite a bit because of the spare tire. And when that bedside's sitting right on top of a steel edge, you can get contact and chatter and have rust issues. So this is a good way to get a lot of extra clearance, protection, and you're not gonna have any of those bedside rubbing issues.
So now we got the swing arm on, we're just getting ready to put in the locking pin. This keeps the swing arm in the open position. So right now we're just installing a strut that helps open the swing arm.
All right, Brian, I see we have a couple mounts back here. We have this big one, these two little ones, and then obviously this one's for the tire. What are these two for?
Yeah, so this is our Rotopax MaxTrax mount. So this mounts either 4-gallon or 2.5 gallon Rotopax. And then this side is for MaxTrax, which we can put up to 4 MaxTrax on this side. And then down here we have our horizontal high lift mount. So this just goes on right behind the MaxTrax and the tire. It's just a nice, super clean way, and it's nice to keep the weight low on the swing arm.
And you also have the option to put the high lift, like...
Yeah, we do have a vertical option too, so that will fit with these mounts and the tire. It'll just go right in the middle, and that's definitely an option as well.
Sweet, man. Can't wait to see the products on these brackets.
It's not that one. One of the cool features of these swing outs on the C4 bumper is on the swing gate itself, we have a wedge tapered design that locks up with another surface on the actual bumper. So what that does is it centers the tire. See how it's going in a little higher? It will force it to the middle, or if the tire's sagging, it will force it up, and it's gonna keep constant tension on that swing gate because of that taper. So the lockup is just insanely good.
While Wes and Brian are working on assembling the rear bumper, Caleb here is going to be installing the oversized tire fitment kit, which I cannot wait for you guys to see. It's so clean, and it's going to allow us to really move those 35s around without any rubbing.
Comes with a couple of different parts. We have a body mount relocation kit to chop off the OE body mount and replace it with a smaller one to get all the clearance you need. It also replaces the inner fender liner with an aluminum high clearance liner, and we also include cutting templates to properly cut your fender and flare and cut it back and up to get all the clearance you need. And then that liner goes in and seals up everything so you don't get mud and water and stuff in your air intake and in your door jambs.
Caleb just finished installing their new oversized tire fitment kit, and take a look at how much space we gained, allowing us to fit 35-inch tires without any rubbing issues. He really pushed this back, and look at how clean this all looks.
Next up, we're going to prep to install our hybrid series front bumper. So we got to put some tape, some masking tape marks on the bumper, and then we're going to take this one off and get ready to cut it so we can fit the new one. I'm going to go ahead and trim off our fender flares to prep for installing our new bumper. Well, we're just getting ready to cut the front bumper here so we can save this upper portion to clip back on, and then we'll be ready to throw our hybrid bumper on after that. So we've loosened up our power steering cooler here, and we're going to move this back a little bit to provide more room for the bumper and the winch. And so we just have some brackets that we send with our bumper. So we're going to go ahead and relocate those. Use some of the original hardware to hold the bracket in place, and then we use some 5/16 provided bolts to go and attach it to the cooler in the back. I'm going to go ahead and clip on this upper portion of plastic here. This is what's left of the original plastic bumper cover that we cut.
Caleb's done cutting the plastics on the front of the Tacoma. He's done all the prep work. Right now we're going to be installing the C4 hybrid front bumper with the full hoop. Can't wait for you guys to see how it looks. Caleb and Brian just finished installing the C4 hybrid front bumper. Take a look at how awesome it looks. The truck is really starting to take shape. Right now they're gonna install their C4 full skid plate and gaskets. Take a look at the stock skid plate that comes with our Tacomas. Not only does it not cover as much as the C4, This is only the front side of the C4 skid plate. There's still a whole back part to it. But not only does it not cover that much, look at how thin it is compared to how thick and heavy and sturdy the C4 full skid plate is. So you tell me, guys, which protection would you want to have out on the trails? Would you want to have the C4 full skid plate or what you get stock?
So we just drilled a 3/8 hole through the frame here just to install our rearmost bolt for this cross member on the skid plate. It also helps hold the rock slider in place, gives it another attachment point at the bottom of the frame. So that one bolt ties through everything. Our rock slider already has the hole in it, so you don't have to drill through that, just the frame. But it just makes the whole, everything under here nice and stout with our additional cross member all the way at the back of the skid plates here.
The C4 hybrid front bumper and high clearance rear bumper have been installed. We also installed the C4 full skid plate along with the gas skids and differential skid plate. Now it's time for us to wire all the lights with the S-Pod. The lights we're going to be wiring are the Baja S2 Sports for the ditch lights. Up in the front for fogs, we went with the Squadron Sports, 2 on each side. And then for the 30-inch light bar, we went with the Baja Designs S8 light bar. To match that, we're gonna be doing a 40 up top, but we won't be able to install that until we decide which roof rack we wanna go with. As you guys can see here, we have the S-Pod mounted to the fuse box cover. From here, we're gonna be connecting it directly to the battery. And then we're gonna be using this wire harness to connect the S-Pod. Well, we're going to be running this wire harness through the firewall to connect the S-Pod to the touchscreen display and then wire each light to the S-Pod. All right, fellas, we're officially done installing the C4 hybrid front bumper, C4 high clearance rear bumper with all the accessories that are back there. We also installed Baja lights all around. For the ditch lights, we have the S2 Sport. For the fog lights, we have 2 Squadron Sports on each side. And then for the 30-inch light bar, we decided to go with the S8 Baja Designs light bar. To manage the entire lighting system, we connected it to the S-Pod with the touchscreen display. And then inside the bumper, we installed a Warn winch. But my favorite product of them all was their new oversized tire fitment kit that allowed us to really rock 35-inch tires without any rubbing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how this truck looks out in the wild.